everyone, I'm cindy+seip from beautiful Frankfort, Kentucky. First, let me share a brief medical history with you so my Now I Know proclamation will make sense. At the age of 18, in my first year of college and after suffering several months with severe headaches, I began searching for answers. I started with an optometrist who noticed extra pressure in my eyes. He then sent me to an ophthalmologist who ultimately sent me to see a neurologist. The day I met my neurologist, he was planning to perform a spinal tap to see how much extra pressure was in my head. However, at the last second, he chose to do a CAT scan instead. This scan revealed that I had a tumor that filled the entire right ventricle of my brain. Surgery was inevitable, and within days, the non-cancerous tumor was successfully removed utilizing laser surgery. I suffered my first grand mal seizure several months after my surgery, and my neurologist prescribed phenobarbital and Neurontin to control future grand mal seizures. My life and seizure activity were controlled for years with medication, but at the age of 32, I began to have simple partial complex seizures. But my neurologist never labeled me as an epileptic, even though I was having 4 to 6 simple partial complex seizures a day. This is a very important part to my story. I found out while I was recuperating from my brain surgery that had my neurologist gone ahead with the spinal tap, I would have either died instantly or would have spent my life with major medical issues. So needless to say, I idolized my doctor. Now I know that that was wrong because it gave me a very skewed viewpoint of my doctor and my treatment. In many ways, I looked at him as if he were my savior. Now I know that I have a real Savior, and His name is Jesus Christ. Now I know that if a person has more than 2 unprovoked seizures, they are considered an epileptic. Now I know that I had been an epileptic for years, and had I been diagnosed, my doctor and I could have targeted the disease. So in essence, I know my doctor and I were working together to try to keep me from having grand mal seizures. I even called them feelings, sensations, auras. Never once was I called an epileptic. Now I know that diagnosis is so valuable to the cure. After 6 years of non-stop drug changes, unbelievable side effects, ER visits, and the loss of my job, my self-esteem, my husband, my family, my dignity, and so much more, I now know that the epilepsy monitoring unit at the UC hospital was the answer I needed prior to going through all I went through. Knowledge is power. And I had no knowledge of a disorder. What I know now is that there is a common practice in neurology that you always scan them before you stick them. When I heard that from a neurologist in Lexington, Kentucky, that really changed my viewpoint of my life up until that point, and really how I had looked at my doctor for all of those years. I had idolized him, but he was just doing his job. He didn't save my life. But I honestly believe that it was divine intervention, because he was prepared to do the spinal tap, but something made him change his mind at the last second. Now I know that seizure surgery isn't as bad as it sounds. Yes, it was a 2-step process, 2 different surgeries a week apart, but because of those surgeries, I gained complete seizure freedom. So now I know that I'm delivered. I enjoy an empowered life free from almost all medications. I know that I can make good, solid decisions on my own based on my own brain function, not the altered decision-making due to massive doses of anticonvulsant medications. Those are barbiturates, by the way. See, now I know that life is worth a living, and more importantly, living free from a disorder that can literally take over your life. Now I also know that it doesn't have to be that way. Now I know that I had a say in my treatment, my doctors, my therapy, but I was totally unaware that I was a classic epileptic. Most importantly, I know that my life was preserved for a purpose. I hope each of you find your purpose and your destiny, and that you can say, "My life is worth the living just because He lives."